Well, the Texans have just hired their next head coach. The Texans' fourth coach in franchise history is none other than David Culley. David Culley comes from the Baltimore Ravens. He was their assistant head coach slash wide receivers coach slash pass game coordinator. So we got a guy who comes from one of the worst passing offenses in the NFL. We got a guy who is 65 years old, who is probably about 3 years away from retirement. He actually turned 66 around week 3 of the NFL season. Honestly, probably week 2 of the NFL season, because his birthday is September 17th. He was born in 1955. Oh man, this was a hire you just couldn't mess up, but you somehow found a way to mess it up. This hire makes the Urban Meyer hire from the Jaguars and the Dan Campbell hire for the Lions look somewhat decent. Why in the world would you hire someone that you're about to replace in 2 to 3 years? It makes no sense. And the fact that dudes like Eric Bieniemy, Joe Brady, Brian Dable, Matt Eberflus, dudes like that, they're all chilling out there waiting for a head coaching job, but you go with this guy. Really, dude? Really? The guy's been coaching forever. I know some people are going to say, well, Sticky, he spent 17 years with Andy Reid. Yeah, I get it. He spent 17 years with Andy Reid, but why not go with the younger guy, Eric Bieniemy, who's also been with Andy Reid for the past 5-ish years? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Now, is this a bad hire? Right off the bat, abso-effing-lutely. This is abso-effing-lutely a bad hire. There was better options out there. This guy, it's this is a dysfunctional franchise. They still have Jack Easterby. They could have had an amazing GM, but they went back to New England and got Nick Caserio. And not to disrespect Nick Caserio. Nick Caserio can still be a good GM, but then they go get this guy. It just makes no sense. And I know there's gonna be some of the people out there that, oh, Sticky, will give him a chance. Yeah, you have to give him a chance. You ain't got much other choice anymore. But this guy over Eric Bieniemy, over Joe Brady, over Brian Dable, over Matt Eberflus. Really, dude? You waited this long to hire a guy that nobody had ever heard of until literally last week when the Texans interviewed him. This is just an all-around mess. Honestly, the Texans are probably going to go 2-14 next year. Honestly, 0-16 because Deshaun Watson's probably going to sit out the year. I know some people will say, well, Watson's going to ask for a trade. Well, if Watson asks for a trade and the Texans aren't going to trade him, they're just going to let him sit out for the rest of the year. They're going to go 0-16 because the Texans have all the leverage in this whole Deshaun Watson situation. But this is ridiculous, man. This is downright ridiculous. Even if Deshaun Watson approves of this hire, I still don't think it's a good hire just simply based off the fact that this man is about to be 66 years old. The NFL is a young man's league. That's what it is. All these old coaches, they're not good, man. I'm sorry, besides Belichick and Andy Reid, who out there that's old is actually having success? Look at the younger coaches. Who you got? You got Shanahan. You got LaFleur in Green Bay. You got McVay with the Rams. Vrabel with the Titans. You got these young coaches taking over. It's a young coaches league. And the Texans went out there and got the oldest man probably available. This is a mess, man. This is a complete mess. Now, look, is there light at the end of the tunnel? A little bit. maybe this guy can form a great coaching staff, and the dude just sits there and he just focuses on being a leader for the team. But other than that, man, like, I just don't see how this guy, who was responsible for the worst passing offense in the NFL last year, I don't see how he is qualified over dudes like Eric Bieniemy, Brian Dable, Eberflus, Joe Brady, and I'm pretty sure even Leslie Frazier, bro. Like, I would have preferred Leslie Frazier over this guy. Why? Because Leslie Frazier is younger, and because Leslie Frazier has actually been a head coach in the NFL before, so he has that experience. This guy is 66 years old, having his first head coaching job. Like, let that sink in. Let that sink in, man. Like, literally, this was the one hire that the Texans couldn't mess up. These two hirings, GM and head coach, were two hirings that the Texans couldn't mess up. And I believe they get a big fat F in both. Nick Caserio, like, yeah, he's definitely a qualified person. He has the resume to be a GM. But the fact that the Texans went right back to New England, where they failed before, to get another guy from New England, been there, done that, didn't work. It was time to move on, but they went back and got another guy from New England. So that right there in itself was a huge failure. Then they go get this guy, David Culley, who, honestly, like, his resume, yeah, he's been around forever, like running backs coach, wide receivers coach, quarterbacks coach, running backs coach, wide receivers coach, quarterbacks coach. Like, he was in college, and then later on, like in the mid '90s, he went to the NFL. But I mean, at no point was this guy like ever anything spectacular. Like, when have you ever heard of this guy? And I understand some people might say, "Oh, well, this is not the sexy hire, but it could end up being good." F that, bro. Give me the sexy hire. Give me the sexy hire. Give me the Joe Brady's, Eric Bieniemy's of the world, bro. Like, and like, I understand, what was it, 7 years ago when they hired Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien was the big name guy, and we know how that worked out. But still, dude, like, a 66-year-old guy in a young man's league. I don't know, man. I mean, odds are Tim Kelly stays as the OC now, and whoever he brings in, like, defensively, will probably be someone from Baltimore or something. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know what type of staff he's going to build. Like, is he going to bring big name people? Is he going to bring random no names? Is he going to keep Mike Devlin? He's probably going to keep Mike Devlin. Like, I don't know, man. Like, this thing is a mess. Like, yeah, he's a part of the Andy Reid coaching tree, but he's 66. And I think that's like the biggest issue. The fact that he is 66 years old. Romeo Crennel is like, what, 73? Romeo Crennel was like in his late 60s, around the same age as this guy, whenever Bill O'Brien called him out of retirement. Like, this is a guy who's not going to be around long. Like, why in the world would you hire this guy? Like, it makes no sense. Oh, he probably seems like a nice guy. Oh, he's a nice guy. I like him. That was probably Cal McNair's, thought process. Honestly, this screams Cal McNair, bro. I don't think Nick Caserio is this dumb to make this dumb of a hiring. Like, it makes no sense. Like, Nick Caserio signed a 6-year contract. Odds are he was going to be tied to his head coach. This guy's probably only going to be around for 2 years. I mean, all I can say is, unless Tim Kelly turns into an offensive play calling god, the Texans are going to go 6-10 next year, because this reeks like a terrible hiring. Like, I'm sorry, and like, I could end up being wrong and everybody else could end up being wrong, because there is no one that I've seen on Twitter right now that likes this hiring. And honestly, you should damn well be pissed at this hiring. If you are pissed about this hiring, you have every right to be pissed about this hiring, because, like I said, Brian Dable's chilling. Gotta wait for Eric Bieniemy to, win or lose the Super Bowl in a couple weeks. Literally, all you had to wait was a couple weeks. You waited this long. You fired O'Brien early October. You were the first team to fire their head coach, and you were the last team to hire a head coach. And you probably hired the worst head coach out of everyone. You know how sad that is? Like I said, Joe Brady's still out there. Bieniemy's still out there. Greg Roman is still out there. Like, bro, you went to go get someone from Baltimore and you didn't even get Greg Roman? Like, that's pathetic, man. This is a joke. It's a straight up joke. I didn't think the Texans were going to be so stupid to mess up such an easy hiring. I mean, there was one spot open with all those candidates available. And they hired this guy. Yeah. Poverty franchise. Poverty franchise. That's the word. Poverty. Poverty. F Cal, F Easterby, F the Texans. That's all I gotta say on that. And yeah, voice your frustrations down below in the comment section, and be sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well if you haven't done so already. And yeah, that's all I have for you guys for today. And I guess I'll see you guys later. Joke of a franchise, man.